This is the All for the Gators podcast. Nothing but Gator greats, where your hosts bleed orange and blue. And now, your Gator alumni hosts, John, Andy, and Sid.
Coming back at you, All for the Gators podcast. I'm your host, John Spano, with Andy Pankratz and Sid Kafka. Another edition of All for the Gators, ladies and gentlemen. How you guys doing today?
Excellent. Glad to be here once again.
Oh, yes. Excited to see who we have coming to talk to us this week.
See if we keep the, what were you trying to do? We're trying to keep the wide receiver and the Jackson streak going?
Yeah, we're trying to fill the Jackson 5. Can we do it? Who do we need? We got Jack Jackson. We got Chad Jackson. We can get Terry Jackson.
Terry Jackson, good one.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't there another Jackson I'm leaving out?
There
Tito. Tito's always forgot.
No, this is going to break the streak, fellas.
Oh.
okay.
Sorry to burst your bubble.
For receivers and Jacksons?
Yeah, well, we could talk about that later again. I'll have to Google that. I'm pretty sure I'm leaving out a pretty important Jackson.
Daryl Jackson.
Daryl Jackson, that's it. D-Jack. No, Willie Jack. Here we go.
Good golly.
Jack Jackson, Chad Jackson, Willie Jackson, Daryl Jackson, and Terry Jackson would be the Jackson 5.
Girl got out of the car looking more like Freddie Jackson.
Let me ask you guys, when you do listen to the podcast, how do you listen to it? What do you use?
I'm usually in the car because I got a decent commute to and from work, so I usually do it.
I get it from Facebook and listen on my cell phone.
Some Facebook. It's not on Facebook.
I get it from your link. From when you share the new stuff, I click on that and I access it.
So it's taking you to Apple or no?
I don't have Apple. I'm old. I got an Android.
Oh, dear God. It's probably
gosh.
opening Apple.
All right. And then, Andy, are you opening Apple and then just like Bluetooth in it?
No, I'm using Spotify.
Spotify. Okay. I was curious because, we're on all these different outlets and I started dissecting it and looking into it. And the majority of people listen on their mobile to Apple Podcasts, and then Spotify Podcasts is in there. Also Audible.
Audible, that's what I use.
Oh, God.
They're all Audible, right? I get it. Good job. Good job, Sid. You do add to the show. Oh, man. All right, let's get straight to our guest right now before I quit the show.
We're off the rails early today, guys. What receiver is it this week? Or what Jackson is it this week?
So if we don't have a Jackson or a receiver, who do we have coming in now? What's the new streak we're beginning this time?
All right, fellas. Today's Gator great is another from the long lineage of football greatness to come out of the Muck City. At Glade Central High, this guy shut down offenses like no other at linebacker, winning defensive and overall players of the year. He was a two-time first-team All-State selection, and by his senior year garnered the prestigious blue-chip All-American honors. Guys, this man told Coach Spurrier at his in-house visit, "I'm coming. I'm a Gator." And from there at Florida, he would amass over 300 career tackles, just short of the top 10. We're talking of all time. He led the team in tackles in 97, was second-team All-American, Butkus Award semifinalist, and team captain in 97 and 98, and dominated the conference as first-team All-SEC in 98. Gator Nation, I give you a two-time SEC champion, pure beast of a middle linebacker, number 58 in the orange and blue, 1996, national champion and scholar, Mr. Johnny Boykins Rutledge III. Johnny Rutledge.
Wow. Oh, man, you had to hit me with the Johnny Boykins Rutledge. I mean, that was awesome. That was awesome.
That's his thing, man. That's his thing. He likes to go,
He likes them
full
government names.
Yeah, that's what I do. Hey, Johnny, before we get started, and, we're delighted to have you on the show, but my 6-year-old son is also the third John in a row.
Uh-huh.
Is he a third also, or do we need to have that same middle name?
You know what? He's a third. You know what I'm saying? Give him that third. He can have it.
I'll take it.
But you guys did your research, man. I mean, just all the way back to going to tell Coach Spurrier I was coming. So, yeah, man, that was good.
Did he miss anything?
Well, there are things I left out because we're going to get to it in the interview. So.
All right.
So there are other things.
Okay. All right, so we had one of your guys, Riddell, who you grew up with. We had him on the show a couple episodes ago, and he kind of explained to us about Muck City and the legacy and pride that comes with growing up and kind of playing football there. How do you feel the Muck prepared you as a kid, and then in Central Glades where you really kind of burst into the national radar?
Oh man, first and foremost, that's where everything came from. I just learned how to play with pride at a young age, and then just seeing all the other guys go to college, go to pros, and then just doing those things. I just always wanted to wear those colors, and then to play well for them. So I mean, even as a kid, I mean, there was a lot of pride where I just want just to carry on that pride legacy, have that going.
And I saw one of your Instagram posts that Riddell got you to try out for the football team. Can you tell us a little more about that story? And you started out as a tight end. Is that true?
Yeah, man. You know what? Back in the ninth grade, I mean, I was 6'2", 205, freshman. Lunchtime, he actually came up to me, asked me to come out and play. I was like, you know what, man? I kind of think about it. He was like, man, you know what? I need a tight end to block for Fred. I'm like, okay, cool, man. I'll do it. I mean, but on that first practice, I got hit, and I was like, you know what? I'll play defense.
You want to do the hitting.
You want to do the hitting.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Clearly, that was a good choice for you as you went on to become one of Palm Beach's most decorated high school defenders, defensive and overall player of the year, two-time All-State selection, and All-American in '94. What do you attribute your ability to have such success at a young age coming out so fast like that?
For me, I always had all the tools. I mean, I was 6'2", as a freshman, 205 by my last year, I was 6'3", 225 pounds. So, I mean, I was already big and fast, so I just had to learn how to play the game. Then I had some awesome teachers, you know what I'm saying, guys that taught me how to play the game. So, all that kind of mixed in, and guess I was there playing.
So one of the things that the three of us have learned a lot about doing this show is about the Florida-Georgia All-Star Game.
Yes.
And we've had a bunch of guys on the show that had played in that game, Gaffney, Troop, others. Mm-hmm. You were the game MVP, so you must have had a hell of a game. How did you earn MVP?
Well, you know what? And the game record for tackles was 9. For that whole week, I was like, you know what? Record is mine. I'm gonna break it. So I tied it. But with like 9. But all those 9 was really big hits and stops. So, you know what I'm saying, I got the trophy.
After that, recruiting must have been pretty fun for you. You had Notre Dame with Lou Holtz knocking on your door.
Yep.
Kansas State with Bob Stoops. He was the DC there before coming over to UF and Colorado. Stoops even promised you a starting role as a freshman. And we know what you said to Spurrier about you were coming, you were a Gator. Did you ever sway at all?
Man, how do you guys know all this stuff? And you know what? It never swayed for me from my junior year. I always knew I was coming to Gainesville. Florida State was a no. Miami, a no. So, I always knew from then I was always going to be there. So, all those trips I took, I would just take them for fun.
Well, those are good no's.
Yes, sir.
Were you a Gator fan before becoming an orange and blue yourself? Who were some of your Gators before you were a player?
Oh, man. You know what? For me, I always followed the game. Ed Robinson, Scott Brantley, Jack Jackson.
Friend of the show.
Willie Jackson, Brad Culpepper. All those guys I follow, watch. So, for me, man, always a Gator.
You get to Gainesville in '95, and I read an article where you said your favorite memory of playing at UF wasn't really the championships, but your first day there and all the talent that was around you. Can you bring us back to that first day, walking into that linebacker room, James Bates, Ben Hanks, Javon Curse, Mike P.?
Well, you know what? Curse played safety. Mike Pete was a safety. So, I had James Bates, Ben Hanks, who else is in that room? Dexter Daniels. But just seeing all those guys, all that talent. Man, I want to say you had Lawrence Wright, you had Fred Taylor, you had all those guys there. So I was like, man, you know what? For me, I have to come in and work hard every day and earn it to play. I mean, because if you slipped up, I would have got lost in the shuffle.
I'm trying to think who we had on the show. The other guys will remember, but we were talking about Curse when he came in as a safety first, and then whoever we had,
Bo Carroll.
I'm drawing a blank, but they were talking about how was it Carroll? Okay,
Yeah, it was Bo Carroll.
He said that Curse mutated.
He's the one who said he named him the Freak.
He mutated.
That's right.
You know what, man? I always tell people, pound for pound, he is the best player that I've ever seen. I mean, to be that big, fast, strong, smart. I mean, I don't think God is making those type of guys no more.
Well, that first year in 95, you didn't start right away, but you get in 11 games, and you clearly make a big enough impression. I mean, you made all-SEC freshman team. Great honor there.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you learn from that first year and watching some of the guys ahead of you and making the most of your opportunities when you're on the field? What do you remember from that?
I mean, for me, just making that college jump. You know what I'm saying? Just seeing Fred them do it that year prior. I mean, so I came in ready, focused, confident, ready to go. So I mean, all I had to do was just, I mean, for me, just learn how to play that game, playing that conference, week in and week out, battling.
We've heard playing, in Muck City kind of gets you ready. Like guys we've talked to have said when they got on campus, they were ready to go from that experience. Is that kind of how you were?
Yeah, you're right. For me, there was no fear. Always came in ready to go, confident, knowing that for me, I can go out and play. All I needed, you know what I'm saying, was just that shot to do it. And for me, earned that shot. Yeah, man, I didn't look back.
You definitely did not. Sticking to that first year, how sweet was winning the SEC championship? The first year you were there, you had your guys next to you, Riedel, Freddie T. You mentioned earlier. Those guys were with you. How was that? I
mean, then we already knew that we was gonna win a championship. I mean, all we had to do was just make it there and play the game. I mean, for us, we weren't scared to play anybody. All we had to do was just show up and play.
So, Johnny, you've said that one of your greatest memories of playing was going through the process and what it actually takes to win a championship. And I assume you learned a lot after losing the title game there in 95 to Nebraska.
I mean, from that game, flying back on the plane, we were humbled. I mean, so we knew what it took to just to be on that stage, to be able to play at that level for four quarters. And I mean, man, we were strictly beat down for four quarters. So on that way back home, I mean, all the guys were like, you know what, fellas, we are going to, you know what I'm saying, focus in hard, lock in, and I did, man. We'll win this thing next year. I mean, man, so that plane ride back, all of the juniors, freshmen, we was like, you know what, man, we'll be back.
We heard that off season was different.
Yes, I mean, for us, all of our lifts change, all of our runs change. I mean, man, so that loss really changed our whole thing, man. From our lifts, runs, from weights to films, yeah, everything changed.
And a new strength coach, right? Came in?
Yes, sir. Smith. Smith.
Yeah.
Man. Came in, tried to kill us.
Got you guys in order.
Yes.
Clearly, this works out. 96 comes around. You're taking over at linebacker. Dominate. You have 108 tackles, 15 for loss, 4 forced fumbles. How do you attribute making that huge jump from your freshman year into that big impact there in the sophomore championship year?
Well, for me, I was ready to play. I mean, but then just bringing in Coach Stoops with the man-to-man bump and run, blitz-style defense, pressure. For me, all that played into my game. I mean, so Coach Stoops was an added piece that we actually needed.
So I'm curious to get your thoughts on something being on the defensive side. So we've talked to a bunch of offensive guys that were part of the Fun and Gun. Do you feel like having that explosive Fun and Gun offense that scored so often, so quickly, that guys on defense almost had to be in better physical condition than opponents because you guys were going to be on the field more because your offense was scoring so fast and getting off the field?
I mean, look, man, here's the thing. Coach Smith had us ready to go. I mean, so we were always ready to play for 6 quarters, and then we already knew that our O was going to score at at least 49 points. I mean, so we were ready to play.
Yep. Spurrier used to say, we're going to hang half 100.
Yes, absolutely.
Of course, not only do you have a big season, but the Gators do as well and win the SEC championship again over Bama, 45-30.
Tim Bowens in the game as a wide receiver for Alabama. As Kitchen back to pass, he's going to be hit, drop, sack back at the 49-yard line by Johnny Rutledge.
That would end up being your second but last SEC title. Were you sort of expecting to be back there every year?
You know what? For us, yes. I mean, that was always a goal of ours to be there. So for us to be so good on during defense, my last 2 seasons not to make it back was tough. So yeah, I mean, but for us, we always want to make it back there.
Speaking of getting back there,
I should have went my junior year and my senior year.
well, speaking, get another shot at it. Obviously, that year ends with the huge rematch in the Superdome in New Orleans. When Arizona State lost, you guys knew you had a shot at the national championship. How sweet was it to get revenge by dropping 52 on those Noles and bringing Florida's first football championship back to Gainesville?
Well, you know what? Just as soon as that game was announced, we knew that we were going to win it. I mean, because we battled them close on their own field. So all we had to do was just make some slight changes, made them, and then for us to beat them there, win the first one was just sweet, man. Always an awesome memory.
So you're a big Spurrier guy, right? Like many others?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But you also were a big Mullen guy, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So he was offensive coordinator when you were there. And then, of course, he goes on to become head coach. Kind of curious, Spurrier left to take another jump at, make a run at the pros. But, Mullen, he got fired. How is that when you see him get let go by the Gators?
I mean, football's a business. I mean, for us, we always knew that coaches came and left. But with him, he's a Gator. So, for us, we always knew that we would always have changes. We knew that all the time that happened. So we just had to, go with all those changes.
What do you think of Coach Napier in our current situation at linebacker? Ventrell Miller, great. He's leaving us, and we're getting some guys through the portal, but not exactly that monster room that we had when you came back in there, or even with Spike, Seiler, Crowder, or Everett days.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think of the current crop of linebackers coming in for the years ahead here?
I mean, times have changed now. This whole game has changed. So I don't really think that we'll see those rooms with that much 5-star talent. I mean, especially with all these new deals now.
True.
So we'll have to get some solid guys in there, and then hopefully have those guys there for three or 4 years. Now you got the portal. I mean, all this stuff is changing now. Absolutely.
Yeah, I read an article where you talk about some of Spurrier's teachings to know what you play for and who came before you. And then now talking about the NIL and transfer portal that Sid mentioned, it's kind of sad to think of the answers are totally different now than when you played, right?
You're right. I mean, for me, I always want to make guys like James Bates proud. I mean, for me, man, I want to carry on that name and carry on that pride. So, I mean, for now, I don't know if those guys have that same pride now for their schools wearing those colors. So, I mean, man, so much has changed now. Hopefully we can right this ship.
Yeah, it's definitely changed. It does not seem like it's the same, the ownership and the pride that there used to be. But we'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens.
You're right.
So let's fast forward 97. You lead the team in tackles, semifinalist for the Butkus Award, team captain. So I got a couple questions on this one. So first, do the coaches pick the captains or do the players vote? And then the second one, kind of what does that designation mean to you?
You know what? For us, it was both. Coaches and players did it. I mean, but for me, man, I earned that. So no, that was hard for me.
Gators go on and defeat Penn State 21-6 in the Citrus Bowl later that year, but
yes.
The Gators did fall short of the SEC championship game this time. How did that ball coach handle that? He was probably used to playing in that game for the last few years there. What was it hard for the team to get up for the Citrus Bowl after not having that championship game before it?
Hard, no. But for us losing to Georgia, that year hurt. I mean, for us, man, we didn't want to lose to those guys. I wouldn't say that it was hard to get up for Penn State. I mean, always a bowl game. I mean, for us, always want to finish the season strong. So I mean, but for us, SEC championship not going to hurt us. For us, man, always want to be there.
Let's move on to 1998. It's your senior season.
Yes,
You're
man.
again team captain and have another monster year with 105 tackles. It's the second time you've had over 100 tackles in the season. First team All-SEC, second team All-American, and a Butkus semifinalist again. And I feel like you're overlooked because maybe Mike Peterson and Javon Curse, sort of like Zach Thomas was on the Dolphins when he had Madison and Surtain behind him and Jason Taylor, who may have been a little more flashy, but he did all the dirty work, right?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, for me, people always think I played Mike. For me, I only played Mike 1 year. For me, I was a wheel back in my first 3 years there. So for me, man, I had to switch my last year because we had Kirsten Peterson there, and I mean, man, those guys had to play.
Yeah.
So I had to move from Will to Mike, and then I mean, still it worked out well for me.
All right, let's talk about the Kentucky game that season. Week 4 in the swamp, coming off a tough overtime loss to the Vols.
Man, don't bring that up.
You rack up a career high 20 tackles in the win. What do you remember most about that game? I imagine it has to be one of your favorites.
You know what? It was 22 tackles, actually.
22?
Typo.
You sold them short.
Yeah, man. No, man. Tim Couch was throwing a lot of drags. For me, man, I was able to eat that game. You know what I'm saying? I'm making a bunch of stops. So, you know what I'm saying? A part of our scheme that day.
Andy, weren't we at that game? Like, that was the best seats we ever had.
Yeah.
Right? We were in, like, the third row.
Yep.
Remember, didn't they have Yeast?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
He actually had a huge game against us.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He did. He was fast, man.
Yeah, he scored twice, and
Yep.
man, you know what I'm saying? Both of them was on, like deep balls.
Yep.
So, in the third row, we have no excuse not to realize he had 22 tackles and not 20. That's our bad.
Our crack staff, we're gonna dock their pay.
After that game, the Gators go on 10-2, 98, losing that one at Rocky Top and also to FSU, hard to say. But you do win your third bowl game in a row, knocking off Syracuse in the Orange Bowl down in Miami. And this caps off your pretty awesome college career. Looking back on it, what are you most proud of from your time as a Gator?
Wow, that's an excellent question. Most proud of. For me, I took pride on just showing up every day and then just giving my best. I mean, man, so I took pride in that. For me, just being a leader, buying into the system, into our team. For us, we didn't care about the fame, the glory. I mean, all we want to do is just win. So for me, man, showing up there, winning, and then just playing hard.
Then you're drafted in the second round by the Arizona Cardinals, 1999. What was your reaction? Was second round where you were expecting to go? Was Arizona a place you were excited to go to?
You know what? I didn't even talk to the Cardinals. The Cardinals during that whole time. I mean, for me, I thought it was going to be the Bills or the Raiders, and then the Cardinals just came out of nowhere.
Huh?
Yeah, I didn't even talk to Arizona.
So a second round about where you were figuring?
Yeah.
Hearing?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Where were you when you got the call?
Man. I was home in Belgrade, Florida, with my family.
Nice. So you spent 4 years there in Arizona. You got 2 more in Denver, playing in 46 games.
Yep.
Did you ever have to wrap up Fred or James Jackson out there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, man, multiple times. Shoot, man. I had been doing it my whole life, so I felt like practice again. At home.
When you get up from that tackle, what are you saying to Freddie T?
You know what? I didn't say much to Fred, man. Fred didn't talk on the field, man. Hey, for him, man, Fred just ran hard.
He let his legs do the talking.
And then, man, you know what I'm saying? That was it, man. Fred didn't talk much. Riedel, though. Riedel, now, come on now. You know what I'm saying? He's the talker. Yeah, man, he doesn't stop talking.
Any teammates from any of those pro teams stand out to you?
From my pro teams, Shannon Sharp. I mean, just how he came to work every day. I mean, he was a pro's pro.
All right.
Definitely.
You go on to accomplish some pretty impressive things after your playing days. You go back to school, you get your master's and educational specialist degrees. And I used to speak to high school kids at as part of the junior achievement program. And there was always that one kid when I asked, what are you going to be when you grow up? And there was always the one kid that said he was going to play in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And, I get it. But then I would drop the stats on him. I would say 7% of high school athletes play in college, 2% of college athletes make it to the pros. And even if he did reach the goal and make it to the NFL, which is possible, the average NFL career is about only 3 years.
You're right.
So what about after that, right? So it's great to see a story like yours where you prepared yourself for life after football. What were your goals going into the NFL, and were you always planning on going back to school for those degrees?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, for me, first I want to talk about those stats about how many guys made it. I mean, but for me, man, being from Belgrade, seeing six, seven guys make it. I mean, from there, I already knew that I had a chance.
Well, I think the numbers are skewed for Muck City a little bit. My gosh, half the NFL came from there.
Yeah, man, 6, 7 guys made it, and so I mean, I was like, you know what? Hey, man, I have a chance to. I mean, but I grew up house full of teachers, principals. I mean, man, for me, I just always had to get my work done. And then for me, man, I already knew that the league, I mean, it was a short-lived thing. So, yeah, man, I tried to make the most of it.
All right. So then after the fact, you go and coach football for 15 years. You run some football camps too and teaching the fundamentals. So with all the rule changes for the player safety, has the fundamentals of tackling changed since you were doing this on the field yourself? Like, what's different about it from the doing it on the sideline now as opposed to being the one laying the hits?
Oh, you know what? Oh, for me, man, I love to teach the game. I mean, but as far as man, tackling goes, football is gonna always be about blocking, tackling. I mean, so those things won't change. For me, I'll try to make it as safe as possible. I mean, but the game is to be physical, violent, and tough. I mean, so those things won't change.
Speaking of tough, good segue here. You authored some children's learning books.
Yes.
Grant's Sports Adventures. So how does a tough guy, tough linebacker like you become a published author of children's books?
All right, man. Look, I have 4 daughters. One night I was reading books to them. I was reading this book, and then the book sucked. So I was like, you know what? I can write a book. And then from there, I was challenged by them. And then I went on to write 12, published 2 of them.
Wow.
That's very impressive.
You said 4 daughters, right? All girls, no boys?
Yes, man, all girls.
How old are they?
Oh, man, ages ranges 20 to 8.
Wow.
So,
A girl dad.
You got any challenges with the girls that are tougher than your football days?
yes, there are. A lot of patience.
Yeah.
Well, for our listeners, those books can be found at grantsportsadventures.com.
Yes, absolutely.
In 2015, you're inducted into the Palm Beach County Sports Hall of Fame. What's it like to bring it all back to where it all started and be honored by your hometown and county?
Man, you know what? Out of all the Hall of Fames, this was one that I wanted the most. I mean, for me to be seen by home, and for my home to say that you were a good player. I mean, because I know like all of the players that actually came prior to me. I mean, for me just to have that honor is huge. So, I mean, I've been waiting on it for years. So
Is it actually like in a building? And
yes, it's gonna be in the building. Yep.
Yeah. You take your girls to see it?
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Nice.
Well, I'm in Palm Beach County. Where is this Hall of Fame? I want to come see. Where do we go?
Where's it gonna be at? Kravitz Center.
Oh, really? Okay.
April 4th.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I'm putting that on my calendar.
Yep. April. Hold on.
Oh, wow.
Let me check those dates. I think it's gonna be on the 4th of April.
All right. So Now you're an assistant athletic director at Salem High School in Conyers, Georgia.
Yes.
What do you do in that position? And is this possibly just keeping your seat warm for you to come back to Gainesville and come back to the Gators in some capacity?
Nah, you know what, man? I like training up the younger kids, passing on knowledge. For me, I don't think I want to deal with those four-star, five-star kids. I mean, man, I'm saying I like the ones that want to learn.
I don't blame you.
Listen. So for me, man, teaching, showing up, passing on all the knowledge I have is fine.
All right, we usually end with a bit, so let's end with this. Let's build the ultimate dog at linebacker, taking parts from past Gator linebackers and making one ultimate dog. You ready?
Ooh.
I'm going to give you the characteristic. There's 7 of them.
Okay.
And you got to pick it, and we're going to put together that linebacker.
Okay.
Number 1, strength.
Strength. I would probably have to go with Jared Davis.
Good choice.
Oh, good pick. Speed.
Speed, Javon Curse.
Nice.
All right. Now, you could put yourself in here, by the way.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, hey, I'm just being honest, truthful.
Okay. Hands.
You say what?
Hands.
Hands? Oh, me.
All
I
right.
got hands.
There it is.
All right. Pass rushing ability.
Pass rush ability. Since I already said Curse, let me go with. Man, you got me pass rushing. You know what?
Can I recommend somebody? Is that allowed, guys?
No. For me,
No? Okay.
For me, I'll add Alex Brown in this. He wasn't in, but he actually came in as a backer though. So I'm, you know what I'm saying, gonna give him that.
Oh, bending the rules. I like it.
I like it.
All right.
I like it. I'll allow it.
All right. Pass coverage skills.
Pass cover skills. Give me. You know what? Give me Michael Peterson. He could cover his butt
You
off.
sure could.
All right.
Good call.
Tackling skills.
Tackling skills. Let me go with Brandon Spikes.
Ooh. And the last one, heart.
Hart. Come on, man. Give me James Bates all day long.
There you go. All right, to run it through again, Johnny Rutledge, his ultimate dog at linebacker. Strength, Jared Davis. Speed, Javon Curse the Freak. Hands, himself, Johnny Rutledge. Pass rushing ability, big Alex Brown. Pass coverage skills, Mike P. Tackling skills, Brandon Spikes. And heart, Batesy, James Bates.
That's a hell of a player right there.
Good linebacker. I'd want that guy in my team.
Well, Johnny, it's been an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show today. You've been more than gracious with your time with us, and just really appreciate that you took the time to do this.
All right, you guys, man.
Thank you.
Shoot, man. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
So we end our streak of having Jacksons and wide receivers, and we start a new streak of awesome championship linebackers. This is a streak I can get behind. That was a great interview.
I'm not giving up on the Jackson 5 deal, though. That is one of my goals now.
Oh, yeah.
We'll just have to book consecutive Jacksons going further to start that streak over again.
They don't have to be consecutive, but I got to get 5 of them on just to say we had the Jackson 5 on.
I like it. Life goals.
I think you can do it.
All right, guys.
I have faith.
Let's do our 2 bits.
All right. Who's first?
I have a couple. I'm trying to decide which one I want to use.
All right, I'll go first then.
Yeah, you go first. 'Cause
Okay.
I know you only got one, so if you use mine, I can have another one.
When I talked to Johnny about, some of the things that he learned from Spurrier, like know what you play for and who came before you, and how the NIL and the portal has really changed that dynamic in college football. It's just sad. And, he feels, that it's changed the game, and it definitely has changed the game. And I don't want to say for the worse. There's definitely something missing from the tradition and loyalty of college football and players being there for the university. And
Yeah, you're right. And I think it says something that he doesn't want any part of coaching those guys.
Yeah.
He'd much rather stay with the young kids and that have the passion still,
That is pretty telling.
absolutely. All right, who's next?
I'll go. I found it very interesting that big Johnny Rutledge, tough linebacker, tons of stats, great career, authors children's books, and has multiple degrees. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought you hit the nail on the head. It was good to see that someone kind of prepared themselves, for life after football. Kind of knew that even if they did make it to the league, that it most likely was going to be short-lived, and had to have another plan. So kudos to him for having a plan and and sticking to it and being successful off the field after his playing career was over.
Well said.
And being a girl dad like Stallone in The Rock.
Of course. A fellow girl dad here approves of that, yes.
And Sid, that's right.
That's right. Well, that's good. I like your bits. That's definitely good. But I would like to say how I really got a kick out of, you could feel the pride that he had of being part of the great Gator linebacker fraternity. When he said he wanted to make James Bates proud, you felt it, and that wasn't like just speak. You could, like, he cares, and you could hear about how he talked about the other linebackers, about Curse and about Peterson and the fraternity, and what that would being a part of it, and how much that meant to him, and what a big part of it he certainly was. So I just think it's great when these guys come on and they share with us, and we really get insight, and you can see how passionate he was about it. I think that was really special. We're very lucky to get that kind of insight.
Very good 2-bits, guys. Appreciate it.
It is also amazing the amount of players that have come out of that area.
Yeah, it is.
Must be something in the water.
Man, I know we've talked about that before, but it's like every time we have another one on, it's like, my God, another one.
It's true.
Yeah, we're still booking the Gator greats for weeks ahead. I'm not going to let you guys know who they are, but I'm sure they'll be pretty damn good because they've all been so far.
All right. Can't wait to make our future friends of the show.
Find us on Twitter, A4TG Podcast. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, any social media, really.
Audible.
Anywhere you get your podcast. YouTube. What'd you say?
Audible.
Audible, yeah. Anything Audible for Sid.
Oh, my goodness.
And you can even ask Alexa. That's all you have to do. How simple is that? The whole family can enjoy the All for the Gators podcast right there in your living room.
I think I'm going to do that for the next one. I'm going to ask Alexa.
Alexa off.
Are you playing an old episode for us right now?
All 15 Alexas in the house just went off.
They all just went in surround sound.
Yeah.
That's what I'm afraid of. That seems like that's Skynet. Terminator scared me away from that technology.
The best is when you ask Alexa something and the one in the room you're in doesn't answer and you hear one like in another room.
Yeah,
it's
2
like,
floors down.
Yeah, what the hell? How does that happen?
All right, gentlemen. Always a pleasure and an honor to do this show with you guys.
Another great show.
And go Gators.
Go Gators.
Go Gators.